Welcome back to the first episode.
You can't say welcome back. We've never done that.
Welcome.
All right, Matt, roll the intro.
Evening, officer. Is something wrong?
Just keep your hands where I can see them. Routine traffic stop. We got reports of someone driving under the influence. You know anything about that?
No, I'm only under one influence.
What's that?
The influence of Jesus.
It's time for Under the Influence.
Yeah, we don't want to do anything to scare your children.
Welcome to the premiere episode of the very first podcast from Christian Influence. Thank you for being here, and I hope you enjoy our first episode's shenanigans. I'm Jerry. I'm just one of your three hosts for Under the Influence. I'll be joined later on by two of the best people I know, and I'm so excited for you to meet them. This podcast is primarily going to be a collection of stories and conversations between three best friends who are seeking Christ in their life and encouraging one another to be more godly men. We intend on having so much fun with this, but topics are going to range from the more absurd to hopefully some of our deeper discussions about our faith and how it has impacted our lives. Before we get to the episode, I was hoping to talk a little bit about Christian influence. I'm assuming that in these early days of the show, the majority of our listeners are already acquainted with us to an extent and have some idea what Christian influence is about. But for those of you who are not familiar, welcome. Christian Influence is an online community primarily centered around gaming, with a focus on embodying the values of Jesus. We host servers on multiple games. We have an active Discord with hundreds of members chatting about and playing some of their favorite games together, and a collection of featured content creators who represent Christian Influence on Twitch and YouTube. And so our mission is to be a place where you and your friends go to enjoy and engage in some of your favorite games online and not be bombarded with all the negative junk typically found across the internet. The people and media we surround ourselves with can heavily influence our conduct, and God calls us to surround ourselves with other believers that will push us to grow closer to Him. We're not called to blend in with the world, but we're called to be set apart from it and to be an influence to it. It's a simple approach to just be surrounded by godly influence, but we should strive for more. We should be actively influencing those we encounter and encouraging them to follow Christ. I actually think that's entirely what Christian influence is all about. We're not just a refuge away from the negativity of the world, but we're a chance to strive together to be more godly examples to it. So I would encourage you to consider the people and influences you surround yourself with. Consider how they impact your life and how they impact your decisions. Focus on the good ones and thank God for the people in your life that please Him, and make an effort to be that influence to others around you. Oh, and while you're at it, check us out online and get involved in the community. Head over to christianinfluence.xyz and join our Discord, where we have tons of resources for you, ranging from a place to share some of your favorite memes and artwork to channels dedicated to requesting prayer for the things in your life that need it most. Now, I'll turn you over to the full ensemble of hosts for our disorganized attempts at a first episode, but don't worry, I promise more structured approaches are coming soon. This week, we do discuss briefly who we are, why this podcast is so important to us, and we end up having some fun in sharing stories of a massage machine salesman who harassed us at an event, and some dubious plots of my brother trying to pull pranks on me and, well, succeeding. But so have fun with that, and I look forward to talking to you again soon. And so I guess now enjoy Season 1, Episode 1 of Under the Influence.
Awesome!
Great
that
intro,
was a great
guys.
intro.
Great intro. Welcome to
You got it.
the first episode of Under the Influence, the Christian Influence podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Jude Gaslight Crane. To my left,
Levi, Guy, Thiessen.
creative.
And I'm Jerry Bookworm Crane.
Nice.
Real bookworm, that one.
All right, you don't have to insult me right off the bat.
Okay. This is already getting the ums in there. This is a series of podcasts we're going to be releasing just about three guys, three well-versed theological Christian guys who have all the answers, and we're going to be just taking things from pop culture, maybe, current political world events.
Yeah, we're going to
And-
get really, really dangerous with this, I think, is
Yeah.
what you're trying to say.
Yeah. We want to find the most, fringe, radical people.
Right.
And attract them to this podcast.
Well, we want to put them in the spotlight.
We want to be the voices
That's why we brought
of
Levi.
millions.
Hello, that's why I'm here. The voice of the radicalized American.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. So we'll generally have a topic for each episode, but it's mostly going to be a laid-back conversational experience that is just a nice source of entertainment for people who enjoy podcasts, but somewhere you can go where you're not going to get the kind of filth and distractions of the world. That's what we hope it to be. We'll have a subject each episode. This episode, our subject that I think we've all kind of agreed upon, is what we're going to talk about for our first episode.
Yeah, so the subject of this episode will primarily be us sussing out what our first episode topic is just going to be in general. We're going to talk about what this podcast means to us and what the podcast in general means to other people, why we're doing it, who we are to each other, and then hopefully by the end we can really lock down what our primary topic will be.
Yeah, and kind of a roadmap for the next episodes coming out so you know what to expect.
Right.
And then ending with the Levi singing and the whole spiel.
Well, we have that whole quartet coming in that Levi's leading. But I think it would be good, too, right off the bat to kind of talk about who we are and who we are to each other so people have a better idea of getting to know us right off the bat.
Yeah.
So Jude and I are brothers. Mm-hmm. We have been our whole lives.
Blood brothers, in fact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's that. But also, more importantly, the three of us have been really, really close friends for a number of years. Done a lot of stuff together. Mm-hmm. I mean, from Dungeons and Dragons to video games to plays to going to school with one another.
Sure, I
I mean,
kind of forgot about the plays. It was still... I missed that a lot.
Yeah, I miss plays. It was a lot of fun.
yeah.
Sorry, we were just trying to...
No, but more
derail.
importantly, the three of us love each other very much. We're really good friends. And we have a lot of fun talking to each other. And so, like Jude said earlier, this podcast is hopefully a place where you can just enjoy something that we enjoy, which is talking to each other. And hopefully in a positive respect, with a positive influence.
Yeah, and the sweet tones of our voices.
Yes,
Serenading
our
you.
sultry tones.
Our sultry tones.
Quite sultry.
So, Levi, tell us a bit about yourself. Tell us about your history with us.
Well,
Why am I your favorite? And
before you get to that, you can preface with why you chose... it's hard to top why you're my favorite. And I now...
yeah, you
now
should
I
just
look
let me
at-
have the win.
Yeah, I should have
Go
let you
ahead.
have the win.
yeah, so I'm Levi. I'm just some guy that was in classes with Jerry. We went to a relatively small school and graduating class of 12, so there wasn't much options to choose from.
Wow.
But we did get along very well, and it was a good pairing. We gelled really well and worked together in the summers. A lot of long phone call conversations with Dungeons and Dragons and other theological and just relationship stuff, because high school, there's a lot of drama, believe it or not. And
I believe it.
I don't.
yeah, and now, bunch of years later, we're still friends even after high school.
Mm-hmm.
And these are
These are the days of our lives.
these are the days.
I like
of
how
our
you talked about how we're connected and how we became friends. It was really
yeah,
cool.
so
I love the
Jude's
insight on that.
Jerry's brother. So he just kind of was there.
Yeah,
It was a
I was
package
forced.
deal. It was
Yeah,
a package
yeah.
deal.
Around the time they graduated, I was born.
Didn't have many friends, so we kind of caught. No, he's a cool guy, and we hung out a lot. Like, especially when plays started, and it was more like intermingling of of
The ages and the classes, yeah.
ages and everything.
Breaking down those walls,
Yeah, social barriers.
just social construct barriers.
Yeah, I mean, I think people probably have a good understanding then of who we are and who we are to each other.
Yeah.
Other than, I mean, there's some obvious stuff that we don't have to get into. I mean, Jude and I are
Like
brothers.
how you guys became brothers.
How we became
is
That's
brothers.
a
big
long
topic of
story,
debate.
actually. Yeah.
Political controversy.
A lot of
and all
different
that.
viewpoints.
But okay, so what are some of the things that we want out of this podcast? What's some of the content that we want to achieve through this?
I think one of my main goals, personally, is just content itself. There's a lot lacking.
The lazy answer.
That's not a lazy answer. No, let me fluff it up so it sounds like it's at least not a lazy answer. There's a lot of content out there that is enjoyable, and I think people should enjoy it, but it also comes with some baggage, which is maybe the wrong kind of opinions or the wrong kind of authorities speaking. And it's nice to, I think, be able to put some content out there where we all, at least the three of us, know that, hey, what we're saying is genuine. What we're saying, for the most part, is true, except for when we lie. And it's just generally kind of, as much as I hate to use the word wholesome, but it's
Why would
wholesome
you
content.
hate to use the word
I
wholesome?
don't know, it's a bit cringy.
Oh, yeah. It's a bit
Yeah.
cringy.
It's a bit cringe,
A bit cringe.
isn't it? Yeah.
So it suffice to say, you want to make content that you're proud of.
yeah.
That you would
and
be
and
proud
something
other
that's
people-
enjoyable to listen to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That you could send to your grandmother.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And your best friends alike.
Yeah. Because our target audience is best friends and grandmas.
Yes. Shout out to all the grandmas out there.
All the grandmas listening.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
What are your guys' goals for doing this, Levi?
Well, I just know that over the years we've had a lot of conversations that we were like, man, we should have been recording that. Mm-hmm. Like those 3 a.m. talks that were just like going really deep into some subject for like 4 hours.
And we all thought maybe we wouldn't be friends anymore after them, and then we were fine.
What?
Yeah. No.
You don't,
No.
I don't
you
remember that.
No, that's just you.
Like the ones where,
I think that was just the
like
voices.
the time travel one.
oh man,
That
oh
one
my.
definitely
that-
seemed like.
Yeah,
that
those were
did
those were
suck.
arguments. That's what those were called.
Okay. Sorry. I guess I strayed into arguments, not just conversation.
Yeah, when we'd
I
argue
guess
about.
yeah. There's never been a conversation where we thought we wouldn't be friends, but there
What a
have
great
been,
conversation.
There
I
have been
hate
debates about
Yeah.
time travel that
Well,
have left us with a sour
I think
taste. in our
more
Time travel
accurately-
is just a sticky subject.
I think more.
It was also like the spiritual ramifications of time travel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in the end, it was just about. I won't name any names, but two of us being a bit, just not knowing everything, which is no fault against.
And
them.
It's
And
a
one
good
of
thing
us
that
knowing
this is
exactly.
only audio and not video, because Jude goes, well, two of us, and I won't name any names, and then the next minute of conversation he just stared at Levi.
They just didn't know everything that some of us did, and didn't have such a good grasp on time and the B theory and what's important and why it's the B theory and just other stuff like that.
Yeah, we're getting nods of recognition
Yeah.
from our guy in the chair, who we will not name.
No.
But everybody needs a guy in the chair. Shout out to guys in chairs.
Jerry?
We're going to be giving a lot of shout-outs, I guess, in these
Yeah.
episodes. We have a platform for it, so. Yeah, what?
Well, we kind of went around the table. Me.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
your turn.
for content that we
What-
want to get out of this?
yeah.
you want
yeah.
to
Honestly, I just want to get this really, really big so that I can advertise what I'm doing on the internet, so I can get really, really popular. That's about it.
Yeah, you stream, so this is all kind of a big promotional
Yeah,
thing for
that's
you.
that's the only reason
right?
I'm here.
Yeah.
No, honestly, I firmly believe in the Christian influence goal, being a place where people can gather and enjoy each other's company with a positive purpose behind it, focusing on the values of Jesus and ensuring that I don't know. I think this just gives us an opportunity to, first and foremost, to give us an opportunity to talk to each other within a medium that will keep us focused, but also, I mean, just as friends, because I love the two of you. And then I think that for other people, I hope that they just get something out of it, and that they get not only do they enjoy it, but maybe every now and then we'll stumble across conversation mid, cackling and laughter that encourages somebody and encourages people to enjoy conversations like this with their friends that are positive. So,
Yeah, wow, that was a lot.
you asked.
Yeah, I was tearing up. That was powerful. So that's what we want out of the podcast. And that's what these next few episodes will be about.
Yeah,
and it's been a pleasure having you listen to us. And
Well, we haven't come
this
to a
is the
topic
end.
yet. We just talked about what the podcast is a
Oh, that's
whole.
right. There's the,
Yeah.
the meat of the podcast. I forgot about
Yeah.
that. The middle part.
Yeah. There's got to be a topic of conversation.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of stories, actually, I think, amongst the three of us that we'd like to talk about and share.
Yeah.
I know most recently, you and I, Jerry, we did a kettle corn show in
Oh, we're moving to
Medford.
this now. All right.
Yeah, well, I thought, it's time to moving on. Get some
Okay.
traction.
Yeah, okay. Elaborate.
Well, we went to Medford, and there was this guy. We sell kettle corn, and it was a sportsman show, and we had a kettle corn tent.
Yeah.
And there's just a very, I think, rather odd experience we had with a certain vibrating gun salesman.
Yeah, I mean, we went to this show in Medford with specific presuppositions. We were told and warned that Medford was going to be full of crazy people. And
Yeah.
those of you who are listening that are from Medford, Oregon,
We mean
I
you.
won't apologize. But we were told ahead of time by some other vendors at the show before it.
Yeah, actually, the show before it, we were staying in a hotel with a hot tub, which was basically the highlight of the weekend for me. Yeah. And I went in, and then these other people showed up, and they were also vendors at the show, and they were talking about the upcoming Medford show and saying they'd even made bingo sheets for
Because the people in Medford are just so
it was
crazy,
so
apparently.
crazy and weird.
Yeah.
Which
Which
It's
proves
true.
to not be true.
I mean, it's not. No, everyone there was really great, and it was nice, and there was no weird interactions at all.
I mean,
Except
there
for
were
the
weird
one.
interactions, but like we were just in, 2 other cities that were the exact same. Like I didn't have any interaction in Medford that was any weirder than the interactions I had.
Is it just
I
that
didn't.
weird people are like compelled to go to these shows?
Well, they're sportsman
Well-
shows, so they're like hunters and fishermen and
The recluses of society?
I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah, a lot of weird
Non-social
interactions for
types.
me, but I feel like it was mainly spurred by me because I would say things that I would realize, oh, maybe that was a dumb thing to say.
Yeah, but really, so the point was that we were told ahead of time by some of these other vendors. I am speaking to you now, Levi, I guess, because we wanted to tell you this story. But
Yeah.
we've been told ahead of time by some of the other vendors, hey, Medford's crazy. It's not like the other 2 shows. Medford, the people there, they're freaks, they're weird, and you're gonna be looking for people with this and this and that, and it was weird and unexpected. But then arriving, it was no different than everything else. I mean, it was just a bunch of sportsmen, people that hunt and fish and stuff. There were occasional weird interactions, but the funny thing about all this is that we had been told ahead of time that the guests were going to be strange, but the strangest interactions we had the entire time were from the other vendors.
Yeah, the other people working the show. And, like, really strange. Not necessarily in a, like, oh, that's so funny, but in a truly, that is weird, and I don't understand why
Yeah.
they're doing that kind of strange.
Yeah, I mean,
Aggressive.
Was there a creepiness
pushing of
factor?
oh yeah
there was definitely a creepy factor.
pushing of boundaries, especially with the guy the he was selling those muscle guns
yeah,
that
you know those
vibrate.
muscle relaxer
Like
things
the
that like
Theragun?
Hey, don't say
Thera-
any brand name. We're
Oh,
not
yeah.
going-
Unless they want to
not
sponsor
unless
us.
you want to sponsor us.
Yeah, those what was maybe gyrating
That's a good word.
guns that massage your back.
Yeah, that you
know,
aggressively.
that like top tier athletes might use.
Yeah.
But
That just tenderize
these
your
were
muscles.
available to the unwashed masses.
Yeah, the peasants.
These ones weren't for some Mets player. These were
Mets,
available
baby.
to the unwashed, the unclean.
Yeah, and the
Us.
guy selling them was a real
Terrifying.
character. Yeah, terrifying.
Yeah, because on the first day, right after we had opened up and we started popping and selling kettle corn, David and I were out in the tent, and Jude is selling kettle corn from a separate place. So we have 2 points of sale. Jude's in the main show floor area, and then because we're popping and there's a lot of flame involved, we're set up outside under a tent. And it's pretty slow, and I haven't heard much from Jude. He hasn't needed much resupply throughout the day so far. And then some guy, we just hear him just yelling horrible things and obscenities and screaming. And it's supposed to be a family event, right? And he's stomping up and down the steps and walking specifically all around our area.
Yeah, and he's like 5'3". You might want to. So it's a funny sight.
Yeah, it is funny. I mean, and so he's walking up and down where we're set up too. Like our tent is set up between. There's 2 main buildings for the show. There's a bear and other things to be seen in this one building, and then the main show floor with all of the places where you can like purchase stuff in the one that Jude is in. And we're between those. So there's a walkway, and I mean that's for a purpose so that we can sell more kettle corn. And he's walking where all these families are walking back and forth, up and down, stomping and yelling like, "Give me my money! I'm going to get my money!" and yelling other things that, you know, we're not going to repeat or whatever, but so loud and so obnoxiously. And David and I are just standing there looking over at him like, when are you going to stop? Like, okay, if this goes much longer, we're going to need to say something. The guy who's in charge of this event is really, really nice, but like, you don't mess with this guy. And this is not something that he's going to be okay with. He's going to crack down on this
Really
kind of
nice
thing.
guy. Kind of looks like Indiana Jones.
No, there's no kind of about it. He 100% looks like Harrison Ford.
He looks exactly like
also
Harrison
looks
Ford.
like a guy that looks like Harrison Ford who's cosplaying as Indiana
Yeah,
Jones.
he also is wearing a cowboy hat and a black vest and walking around.
So every
Whip
time
on
he
his
comes
side.
around,
No,
Jude
he
would start-
traded the whip for one of those grabbers that old people use, and
Oh,
he
pick
would
up
walk
trash.
the floor, pick up trash, and then look at a vendor and put it in the garbage can.
Yeah.
Like, hey, by the way, clean up. Very Indiana Jones. Yeah.
Yeah, Indiana Jones, if he started running sportsman shows.
Yeah.
And then, of course, whenever he walked around, Jude, man, I hope he doesn't hear this podcast, Jude would start going, dun, 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 dun. And then I'd be like, swiveling around trying to find him, because
Yeah.
that means he's nearby.
And we'd see a
Indiana
Jeep with 4
Jones.
Nazis in it and him on the back just
Yeah.
screaming. Yeah, it was crazy.
It ended up being really easy to find him because of that reason.
Yeah, he was always followed by a band of like beige military uniformed men asking about an arc or something.
Firing at him.
Yeah, it
but,
was weird.
But back to the real reason we were talking about the show.
The short bald man.
He wasn't bald, but
He wasn't bald?
Short, yeah. I don't think he was bald. I don't think it matters. He's walking around in a bright orange leather jacket with like stripes down the front. Now, have you seen the X-Men Origins Wolverine movie?
Yes.
You know the jacket he's wearing? It's a cool leather jacket, right?
Yes.
Black. It's got like the lighter leather stripes, but a few of them. Looks cool. This guy was wearing one if it was like that, but all orange.
Yeah. All bright
Like
orange.
Hunter Orange?
Yes.
Yeah.
A little softer than Hunter Orange.
Okay.
Because
It wasn't neon.
might make it look like it was an intentional thing for safety. But no, it just looked like
This
it
was
was
an
a
aesthetic
poor
choice.
fashion choice.
Like the orange on the Giants
He
logo.
was very proud of it.
Yes, he liked it. And I want to say, every interaction I had with this guy, outside of hearing him yell on the cell phone, very pleasurable. Nice guy. I have nothing against him.
And this
It's
isn't a story
just-
about us dogging on him or anything.
No.
It'll come full circle, but
No, you'll see. You'll understand why he's a menace to society once
Well-
we finish the story. But the purpose of the story, I am getting food, doing a food run to the
Yes.
concessions.
well, okay.
Mm-hmm.
There's the interaction that we had with him yelling. There was also we can come back to that.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I'm doing a food run because I'm starving, and there's
And I'm covering Jude's post.
there's like a fair style concessions thing out in the front with hot dogs and all that jazz. And on my way out, I'm going through these doors that are locked, and they only let vendors come back through the other way. And he's standing with me, and the lady at the door is like, as long as you 2 guys stick together, because he didn't have his vendor badge. As long as you 2 guys stick together, I'll let you back in because I
didn't
know
know
you're
this part
vendors.
of it.
Yeah, so that's why we were together.
Oh.
And, yeah. So
I thought he
he's
was
like
just there.
No, I thought he would just kind of be in my general vicinity. He literally never left 2 feet away from me. He was by my side. Felt like my younger brother the entire time. He's
Your younger brother that's 30 years older than you.
yeah, but shorter.
Yeah.
And we got in the line for the concessions, and it took forever. And once we got there, I was just didn't want to have to go through waiting for him, so I just said, "Hey, I'll pay for your food," because he was getting like a burger. It was fine. And the whole time he's carrying this massage gun. And
Wait, why did you
So
offer
he's
to
just
pay?
carrying it around.
he's just carrying it around.
That's
with
what
him.
he's here for. He has a booth.
Yeah.
And he sells these
Massage guns.
Yeah. Because this is a sportsman show, right? So you have like vendors of random stuff. Like you have us, we're kettle corn. It has nothing to do with, whatever. But then you also have like beef jerky. And then the next guy over might have like Sub-Zero climate coats,
or salsa in a can.
Or salsa in a can. Or some ghost energy drink. Or
No brand names.
no brand names. But this guy was selling
Massage guns.
Massage.
Yes.
firearms.
And he's just carrying it around. It kind of makes him look creepy. I was just lazy. I didn't want to wait for him to do a separate transaction, and his burger was $5. So I said, I'll pay for it.
Oh, so you didn't want to wait for him because you knew he had to walk with you?
Yes.
Now
So I didn't want to wait.
Until this point, I had no idea. I thought you were just being, no offense, very uncharacteristically kind.
Oh,
Also,
no.
you were using the company card, so
Yes.
really easy to do that.
Very easy to be kind when it's
Yeah.
not your money.
When it's not your money.
Yeah, strikingly. And so we get our burgers, and they don't come with ketchup. So I'm at the little stand with ketchup, and he's saying, "Hey, man, you didn't have to pay for me." And I said, "Oh, no, it's fine.
You don't know. I did.
It's a company card, and you're nice, and you're a nice guy." And then
Was this before or after all
After
of the swearing?
And Jude hadn't known about
I didn't
the
know
swearing.
he went on a
that
phone
had happened
rant.
the either the day before or that morning, but it was only outside, and everybody had seen it that was out there. But Jude, is locked away inside.
Locked away, yeah, being the face of the company.
All right,
And
whatever.
so I turn away from him after saying, "Oh, no, it's fine. You're a nice guy. Why not?" And I start putting ketchup, because now I'm at the little ketchup stand with ketchup monster, blah, blah, blah. I start putting ketchup on my burger, and I hear a switch click, and then
No.
just from behind me, and then immediately I'm attacked. My back is brutally swarmed by this vibrating gun, and he is just deep tissue massaging my back, and he immediately starts going, "Hey man, thanks so much. You look like you could use this." And he just starts going at it. Massaging isn't the right word because there's such an active aggression behind it.
Yeah, it looked like he needed to take out some problems.
I almost had to drop the food and just grab the concession table because this dude is going to town
Because you were
on my
being
back.
assaulted
I'm being assaulted with
by-
a massage
by
gun.
a massage gun.
Yeah, and I'm just like, thank you. I'm being gaslit into appreciating it because I feel like I'm being attacked, but it also feels kind of great. All the tension in my back is being released. And,
all the tension that is being caused by this moment.
Yeah, he's causing it and then simultaneously releasing it.
He's a genius salesman because him being with you at all was this slow build up.
He's slowly
of
making me
tension.
more
both
tense.
social
Yeah.
tension, muscle tension, because you don't want to be around him.
Yeah.
And then he knows he's doing this.
Now's my time to strike.
Now's my time to strike.
Yeah.
And then,
and then
he'll
you
get to
hear
buy
that
one.
you hear that buzzing, and it's like,
Yeah, there's a peak of tension,
Yeah.
and then you have no choice but all the tension to disappear.
yeah. And I'm trying to get ketchup on these giant corn dogs and burgers, and finally I do. I push through it, and
And he's just still going at
the whole time I'm like, "Oh, thanks, man. That's great. All right, okay. Hey, when does this run out of battery?" And I finished putting ketchup on. I'm like, "Okay, we gotta go inside
He's
now."
like, don't worry, I got 3 more.
Yeah. Like, wow, that's really neat. And he's like, yeah, I knew you'd like that. I was like, oh man.
He also has like a stereotypical, like Joe Pesci Italian mob boss. kind of
Yeah, like shouldn't be intimidating,
Yeah,
but
I
it's
knew-
a
I knew
little
you'd-
intimidating.
I knew you'd appreciate that.
Yeah, I knew you'd like that.
knew
You should
you'd
come by.
like
Hey, anytime for the rest of the show, you come by the stand, I'll do it again
get
for
a free
free.
massage.
Yeah, I'll give you a free massage. I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
But we go back inside, and it was probably the most scarring experience of the entire trip.
Well, all right. So, from my perspective, though, Jude had been like, "Hey, I got to go use the bathroom real bad." So I went
that's true.
I took his spot at that stand, leaving David alone. And then Jude left. Then Jude came back and was like, "I also want to go get food." And I was like, "Okay, we haven't eaten anything. Go get food." So I was standing watching his spot. The only experience I had with this guy was hearing him just, yell obscenities to the phone and demanding a paycheck or something and demanding his money and blah, 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 blah. And not seen him at all for the rest of the show until Jude comes back with the food and I'm dealing with a customer. The customer walks away and I look up and I'm expecting Jude to hand me some food and Jude doesn't bring me food. He had his food and David's food. And I'm like,
That's right. So on my way back to
then-
Jerry,
yeah.
I just decided, well, I'm going to eat my burger, and I'll just let this guy run free. Because I didn't want to go back to my post and then eat and work. So I went to David, and I just ate my burger and then came to Jerry. So this guy was on his own.
You had my burger that long?
I did, yeah.
What a scumbag.
No, but so basically I've just released this man, onto the masses, and that's when this is happening. I just want to let you know.
Well, you were with him, though, when this happened. So you couldn't have released him.
I had finished my burger, and I had come
Okay.
back with...
So Jude's coming back, and he clearly didn't have my food, and I was a little disappointed. But then, from behind Jude, walks around this guy, who I'm thinking, oh, great. Why is he here? Oh, forgetting all that for a second, but while Jude was at the bathroom, though, before Jude went to go get the food, that guy was talking to me.
He's just making the rounds.
Yeah, he had been talking to me and been like,
Networking.
Hey dude, what's this stuff about? What's this chemical? I've been munching on every time I walk by.
Yeah,
I was
the chocolate flavor.
I was like, yeah, I've been seeing you every time you go by taking a sample. He's like, don't worry, before this is all done, I'm going to buy a bag. And then he's like...
He'd aggressively grab from the samples and then walk away.
For a second, remember that this is before the food thing happened with Jude. I should have told it in this order. I forgot about this interaction. I had complimented his jacket because I had said... Because he was lingering and customers were trying to get in his way. Or he was getting in their way. And I was like, hey, I like your jacket. It looks like Wolverine's jacket. And he goes, oh, yeah, I love Wolverine. Man, I love those DC comics. And I went, oh, he's just trying to fit in. I won't correct him. It's a Marvel comic,
Yeah.
But he goes, man, I love Wolverine, Green Lantern, the Wonder Twins, Moon Knight. Like
Ronald
really
McDonald.
really obscure references. He goes,
Yeah.
love everything DC. All the while, he's holding this vibration gun against his hand. Must feel real good or something.
Oh, and it's just go.
Yeah. He's just like massaging his palm with it.
So does he just have it on everywhere?
Yes.
He's going?
Because he needs nothing to impede him in a moment of striking.
If there's a moment where he sees a tense back, he needs to be able to
A
act
damsel in
immediately.
distress
Yeah.
with a knot in her back, that's where he shines.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he's like, man, I love DC Comics. I love doing Comic-Cons. You ever been to a Comic-Con? I was like, yeah, I've been to a couple. He's like, man, he kept hammering in that Wolverine was a DC comic character.
Yeah.
He
And I
was
just
testing
like,
you. That's what was really going on.
Yeah.
He thought you were lying.
Oh, great. So he thinks
He thinks
I'm a
you're the
moron.
idiot. Yeah.
Great. That's like my thing. Well, regardless, I had a weird interaction already. So the two interactions I had with this guy, he was like yelling horrible things into his cell phone, and then had no idea, about comic books or whatever. Or you could tell he was doing that thing where he's like trying to fit in a fake way because he doesn't care. So I didn't think the highest of this guy. But then Jude walks back, so jumping back forward after the whole interaction with Jude, Jude brings the food, doesn't have my food. I'm a little disappointed. And then spinning around from behind Jude, I see this bright orange leather jacket. And the guy goes, here you go, man. Here's a burger. And I was like, why do you have it? Why do you have a burger for me? So it was just like it was such whiplash because I had weird interactions with this guy. And I'm like, why? How did you two find each other in this, this sea of weird people to interact with? And so he hands me a burger, and I'm like, I don't know if I can trust it. And Jude's like, yeah, I had him carry it for me. But
wait, you actually had to
My
get
hands
there.
were full. I had corn dogs and a burger.
So wait, were you two sitting at the tent while you were eating your burger, and he was just holding mine?
He was just kind of hanging out.
Where was my burger in all
Was he
this?
massaging
With me.
Jerry's burger?
He was
burger
tenderizing
while
it with
you
I don't know the
massage
chain
gun.
of command where my burger lies in it.
I don't
Like,
think you
did I
need to
eat
worry- I
something
don't
that could have
think
been
you
were,
need to
were
worry
you
about it.
were you carrying David's food though?
Yeah. I
And
gave
you
David's food
just
to him.
gave Jerry's. Okay.
Okay, so hang on, walk me through this.
Okay.
The food is given to you while
food
you're
is
getting
given to me.
harassed with a gun.
No.
Sorry.
Okay, you already
Sorry,
started off
the
wrong.
food is given to you.
How about I start?
All right.
Okay. Yeah, that is... The food is given to me, and I make the statement,
No.
which I think is the triggering statement.
Yeah.
Because you're a nice guy. And then I start to put the condiments on, and then he violently assaults me with the massage gun.
Yes.
And then...
Break that
We're-
down for a second,
Yeah,
though.
yeah,
No, we don't need to break down the
I don't think
assault.
we
Not
do.
the
I don't
assault.
think we
I
do.
want to
Bring
break
back.
down. What were you holding?
I was holding... Oh, so this is the first day. So I was holding my corn dogs
Yeah.
and David's corn dogs.
And he was holding.
His burger and your burger.
Okay, so from the
So
very
he
beginning,
was holding
Yeah.
the burger.
the enemy
The whole time.
had my
Well, no.
The adversary.
He's not our enemy. He's our...
The antagonist.
The stranger. We'll call him the stranger.
the stranger.
Yeah, it's very
the
neutral.
wanderer.
The wanderer.
I like the wanderer.
The desperado.
They call him the
was-
wanderer.
So he had my food from the beginning,
Yeah, because I trusted him.
and then you went to the
to
tent.
the tent. And I
Gave
scarfed
David his
down
food.
that burger.
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Gave David
I mean,
his
those corn dogs,
food.
Yeah. And he just kind of hung around and talked. So I
Holding
guess...
my burger the whole time.
Yeah, and eating his. So I never really
That's
thought
so
about...
weird, though.
No,
right?
because of the amount of time... Because of the amount of time I can eat 2 of those corn dogs. It wasn't that weird.
But
That's
you
not
didn't,
something you should be
But you
proud of.
didn't take the
I'm so
burger
proud
back
of it.
once your hands were empty.
That's what I was
No,
getting at.
no.
So then, once you have free hands,
Yeah, and he
you allowed
doesn't.
this lackey. You let him be your manservant.
No.
Because you walked back with empty hands.
You're misunderstanding this. If it were me and Levi, this would be fine. Because me and Levi are friends. And after I had said to this man, I had given him, you're a nice guy, and he had given me the gift of attention free back. Now we're friends.
Wait, no, I figured it out.
Okay.
You made him carry both the entire time because if he had a free hand, the gun would have come out.
Oh,
again.
there it is.
He could have gunned you
There,
down.
my subconscious needing to defend myself. I
So-
had disassociated.
Hey, I forgive you.
Oh, thanks.
I would have done the
Yeah,
same.
yeah, thanks. I knew if he had a free hand, he'd be right back on me with
Yeah.
that massage gun. Just,
Yeah.
massaging away.
Yeah.
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 Okay. Well, I mean, this isn't necessarily the end of the story, but I don't know if the rest of it's as good. But what?
Just, bumping your leg and it's...
I'm not. My legs haven't moved.
Was it you? My mic just started shaking. I think I was manifesting the massage gun. Never mind. We'll continue.
You were
I
manifesting.
was having
All right.
PTSD.
Okay, so all I was saying is, this guy had a partner, right? So this guy,
There was a partner.
An elusive partner.
An elusive
and I
partner.
mean it when I say elusive.
because this guy was funny. He was a character, and I don't have anything against the guy.
No,
we
no,
talked
no.
to him a couple more times throughout the rest of the show.
Super nice.
He was nice. He's just working a hustle. Right? But he had a partner who was infinitely estranged for different reasons, and until the last day, I didn't know that these guys were working together selling these guns. But I had seen this other guy. Now, the orange leather jacket guy, I hadn't seen him at any of the shows before this. There was 2 shows before this. But the partner, the elusive one, I had seen him at both shows. And so I figured, oh, he's a vendor, right? But at the very first show, he had come up to me. Oh, no, I had just seen him at the show before this. I'm sorry. The show before this. So I had seen him once before in the last town, and now I'm seeing him again in Medford. And in the town before, he was like, hey, do you have any cigarettes? And he walked up randomly. Keep in mind, he had constantly been very close cutting, walking right in front of the tent repeatedly, and it was awkward. But then there was one time where he just stopped in front of the tent and said, hey, do you have any cigarettes? And I said, cigarettes? And he goes, yes. I said, no. And he went, good. And then walked away. And then I saw him smoking a cigarette later, so I don't know how good he actually thought that was. So that had been my first interaction. Then I saw him at this show, and I thought, okay, so he's a vendor, whatever. So it makes it. So it wasn't some weird interaction that happened at the last show. But at this show, in Medford, he came up to us on the first day when we were getting set up. And what did he say that was so weird when he walked by?
He
us?
just
'Cause
so
he
before the show,
he quickly he's doing
just-
that power walk.
just so you
kind
can
of thing.
visualize what this guy looks like. He's a well-built dude.
He is,
relatively. Yeah. He would wear very form-fitting dress pants and then these brown nice shoes and then usually a tucked-in vest or sweater. Or
like a
something.
nice fit polo
yeah,
shirt.
Yeah, and then a nice watch. He had the whole fit together. Yeah. He would walk leaning forward.
He was projecting success.
Yes. He would walk leaning forward, taking very long and quick strides, and he would just bob and weave
But
in and
chest
out of people.
forward.
Chest forward.
Yeah.
Very dominant. But he would cut in front of people that are talking to a vendor.
Yeah.
But there's 3, maybe 2.5 feet of space
We would be
between
doing
them
business
and
with
the
a
vendor.
customer, and he would walk between.
And he would just right
This is
through.
what he was doing at the
Business walk.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's the only
Just
experience we had with him the whole show.
But he was never mean or glaring.
And then if you talked to him, he'd be very nice.
Yeah. But
Was he,
anytime he said anything, basically he would just crop dust us with words because he would power walk by and then leave this phrase, this discombobulating phrase, and we'd just be left awestruck,
Stunned.
What do you mean? And in the very beginning, before the show had started, when this guy walked by, he just walks by, and he's like, "Hey, keep it up, guys."
No, he didn't say keep it up because that was too normal. He said something like, "Hey, keep it strong, keep it strong,
Keep it strong.
yeah," or something like that, and then walked off. So we had the 3 of us together had this weird
It was
interaction.
like a ghost. He was already gone by the time you looked around.
Yeah, and then, but all this is just to say that the next time I interacted with him, I had this experience with Jude and the massage gun guy and the burger and all that, right? This is on the final day of the show. He comes up to me when we're really close to closing, and we're trying to get rid of the last of the kettle corn for that day, and he walks up to the booth, and David, the other guy that works with us, is popping kettle corn, and just as he finishes popping some kettle corn, I see this guy power walking up to the booth, and he stops at the booth. Usually he just,
Blazes
a
on
passing
through.
plane, just zoom past it. And he likes to do this thing where there's a gravitational pull of the tent where he kind of leans into it for a second and then walks back away.
He's the most aerodynamic human I've ever witnessed.
So this time though, he stopped and he's looking at us, and he looks at David, addressing David, past me, and goes, "Can you believe this guy? He's never given me a free bag of kettle corn, or free bag of popcorn, and I've been seeing him day after day at each show. And not once has he offered me a free bag of kettle corn. And I look at him and I kind of laugh. I can tell he's just trying to be funny. But, it's that thing where I get bothered when people joke about not being given free stuff because it's like a deep-seated thing.
When they're fishing for free stuff.
They're fishing. I despise that.
No one likes it.
And he's like, can you believe he hasn't given
So
me
crazy.
a free bag of kettle corn?
Give me kettle corn.
Yeah. And so I look at him, I go, well, we do a vendor discount. It's $2 off. And then he goes, oh, this guy, your boss here, he's going to be a millionaire someday. With an attitude like that, he's going to be a millionaire someday. But seriously. And he looks at me just deadpan and goes, come over here. And so I walk over there, and he's like...
He's got his hands on both sides of your head. And he brings
no.
it
No, he just goes, come
Whispers
here.
into you.
Yeah, come in real close. No, he says, come here. So this thing you're doing here is kettle corn. So is it profitable? And he's like, he's rubbing his fingers together. He's like, so it's a good gig, huh?
It's profitable.
And I go, yeah, it's a good gig. And he goes, so is it profitable? And I go, and immediately somebody thinks of rushing through my head, and I'm thinking like, is this guy going to rob me if I say yes? And I was like, oh, it's very profitable. And he's like, good, now give me all your money with a vibrating gun or whatever. And then he's like, so is it profitable? And I go, I mean, yeah. And I went, oh, also you're a vendor, right? And he goes, yeah, I'm a vendor. I was like, who are you with? And he goes, oh, vibrating guns. And immediately I go, everything makes sense.
Full
now.
circle.
Right. So he goes, so I'm going, yeah, I mean, it is profitable. I mean, we had, with COVID, it was kind of difficult, but we're getting back into the swing of things. And he cuts me off right as I'm trying to explain to him, answer his question, right? Like a normal human being. I am like, yeah, so it's
he's
good.
all about speed.
Yeah, it's
Speed,
true.
efficiency.
You were taking too long.
He goes, hey, and he puts his fist forward like for a fist bump, and I can see a cigarette sticking out of it. He goes, hey, stop right there. I'm going to come back. You tell me the rest of this, and I'm going to buy a bag. And I went, great. Well, we've got a vendor discount. It'll be cheaper for you. Yeah. And he goes, no. I'm going to come back. I'm going to buy a bag. And I give him a fist bump, and he quickly speeds away to 30 feet away and starts smoking a cigarette. Yeah. So I think, okay, he, for some reason, had a real strong hankering for that cigarette right then and there. Could not let me finish the conversation.
It was such a good conversation.
It was so good.
He needed to smoke.
So he's also in front of our tent smoking. So I'm watching him the whole time, thinking, all right, well, he's going to come back over here when he's done. And he sounded sincere. He wanted to buy a bag. All right, he's going to buy a bag. While we're working, there's moments where I'm like turning my back away from him. One time I turned my back and looked back over there, and he's gone. And I went, oh, he didn't really care. Hey, it's not that big of a deal. He didn't really care. I don't, he's living life in the fast lane. What?
Does he just apparate behind you like a genie?
Yeah, then I turned around and he was there in my face. Come here. Is it profitable?
Is it profitable?
Is it profitable?
So no, he was gone. I never saw him again the rest of that night.
Oh.
And then the next day, we're working and like cleaning up and everything, and randomly in the middle of the day, in like one of the deadest parts where we have like very little business, he does this thing where he swings by again to the front of the tent and stops for half a second, just long enough to look at me and go, "Hey man, thanks for that popcorn yesterday." And then that's the last thing I saw of him the entire show. And then
he goes back to walking.
David is in the middle of popping kettle corn, so it's just really loud, right? So David didn't hear it, but he goes, "Hey man, thanks for that popcorn yesterday," and then leaves. I never see him again. So David finishes popping, and I'm like, "Dave, did you hear what that guy said?" And Dave and I have been talking about it over the course of the day, so we've kind of been joking. We found the whole interaction with him funny the night before, and we found it funny how he never came back to get a bag. And I go, "He just thanked me for the popcorn," and he goes, "What?" But he didn't buy any popcorn. I went, yeah, exactly. He never came back that night. So either he came by and stole some and is thanking me for it, which means he's the worst thief of all.
Maniac.
Yeah, he's the worst thief of all time if he's thanking me for what he stole. Or nothing in his reality is real. Because he never came back for it.
Hot kettle corn. He never came into the inside either.
Just...
He never came inside, never got it back from me.
To the wind.
Never spoke to me. So he never got it from me.
Yeah, he never got any from you. He never came back and got any from us, but he made sure to thank us for it. So I thought when it was all said and done, it was really
so. This all comes full circle when the final day we're closing and like tearing down the tent, taking all of our product, putting it all in the van, and getting ready to leave.
Which we did in record time. Like an hour and 20 minutes, and usually takes about.
And this is a full. There's a full like kettle, tent, propane, everything is.
It's a box truck.
We're
full
very
of stuff.
proud of it.
We should be. It was incredible.
I see leather jacket guy again, massage gun.
I didn't know about this.
Assaulter, yeah. And I'm like, hey, do you want a bag? I give him a small bag of our regular. And I'm like, did your partner ever come get corn from us? And he was like, what? What partner? And I'm like, the guy that's with you smokes? And he's like, no, I'm here alone. And then he tells me the story about the Phantom Smoker. At every show, this guy just blitzing around the show floor, like stopping and starting, the sound barrier's breaking because he's walking so fast. And he always asks for a cigarette and then a free thing of product, and then he never shows up.
Well, and then he always asks also if your business
is profitable.
And if it's not, it's like the Passover.
Yeah.
He kills you and your whole family.
Kills you. It's not profitable.
Yeah. So he's telling me this story, and I'm like, wow, that's
If you
insane.
lie to him
we
and say it's
saw
profitable, you're
we
dead.
saw the smoking Phantom, and he's like, yeah, so be wary. And he walked away, and then out of the corner of my vision, I see a blue blur, and I just hear, "Easy, profitable."
Yeah.
Yeah, and I never saw him again. It was crazy.
So those of you listening right now, keep in mind that we said we'd never lie to you.
Yeah, everything we say is true.
Everything we say is true. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got one more tangent about the show if
Okay.
we have time.
I think we have all the time in the world.
Guy at the desk. Yeah. Jerry, this, you probably might have guessed this, but I don't know if you know this. Throughout the show, people were asking for chocolate-flavored kettle corn.
Okay, yeah. I did want to talk about this with you, but...
I was sending them to your tent.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Hang on a second.
Throughout the day.
Are you serious?
And guess what? That
You know
email,
that
that
this-
email was a lie.
Oh, you got Dad to lie?
Yeah.
I'm so mad right now. Were you saving this just to reveal this to me on the podcast?
100%. So let me tell everyone listening the story. While we're at this show, we have two flavors of kettle corn. Traditional.
Wait a second.
Yeah, let me finish. We have two flavors. We have traditional, which is your sweet and salty kettle corn. Everyone knows it. Everyone loves it.
Susie Q's, look it up.
Susie Q's, it's great. Buy a bag.
You can order it online.
You can order it online. And our caramel, which is unsalted. It's a bit heartier, a bit sweeter. It's more candied.
And no salt.
And no salt. We have no chocolate kettle corn.
We've been testing it.
We've tried it,
yeah.
but we've never sold it.
No.
Ever to the extent where anyone would go,
Never
I remember.
advertised
No, never advertised.
Literally
it.
never
Just
advertised it.
experimented.
And adding another variable, like a flavor variable at a show, would make the show much more difficult.
Yes.
Not only having to pop two different types.
You already
but
have to clean
another
it when
type
you're
of thing.
switching flavors. Yeah, it's a lot of work. So these three guys come up to the stand, and these young guys, and they look, like a bunch of hooligans. And they order a medium bag. I give it, and I go, hey, my brother's outside. He's in a blue and red jacket, and he's popping kettle corn. We have no chocolate flavor, but could you just go in increments, you three guys, and ask for a chocolate flavor? And they say, oh, we're totally down for
they
it.
screwed that up.
I know. I heard later that they messed it up pretty bad. But anyway, throughout the day, I would send people out to ask my brother for chocolate-flavored kettle corn. And then my dad calls me. He's like, how's the show going? And, it's going way better than the other one. I've been gaslighting Jerry all day.
Well, not all day, because only one person asked.
Yeah, there are definitely people I asked that said they'd do it that did not.
No. And those three that you just talked about, those are the only people that I recognize the explanation of or whatever, because the only people over the course of that day that they were gaslighting me all day, those three guys walked up, and one of them, this makes so much sense now.
Let me live my fantasy and finish the story. Because in my fantasy world, all day people were asking Jerry, he was getting mad, and that's how I choose to believe it went. I tell my dad this, and it turns out that then after my dad found out about it, he had texted Jerry.
No, he called me.
He called Jerry and said, we just got a very angry complaint because we don't have our chocolate kettle corn.
Yeah, let me tell that part. You keep telling your thing.
Well, anyway, I'm sending these people out to, hey, can you just go ask my brother if there's a chocolate flavor? And they're like, yeah, we love it. Apparently not everyone did. But eventually I come out and I try to plant a little seed. I talk to Jerry. I'm like, hey, have we ever had a chocolate kettle corn flavor?
And then I was like, wait, people are asking you too?
Oh, which gave me, the
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I'm justified. Yes, it worked. My evil plan.
And at this
Feeding off
point,
of
Dad
your
had already called me, so I was
Yeah.
like, we got a complaint on the Facebook page about
So
that.
he tells me that, and I go, oh, my dad must have, been in on it. This is great.
I'm calling Dad when we're done with this podcast.
Oh, yeah. I was like, Dad, don't spoil it. I need it to
This is
share.
the only secret he's ever kept.
That you know of.
Great.
Just wait till we do another show.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to reveal that to you publicly.
Well,
Say
okay,
I'm
so-
sorry.
No, you're not.
No, not at all.
So, with that, those three guys that you first... It sounds like those are the first ones you told about this. Three kind of like wearing, tight leather jackets.
Kind of
and they kind of looked the hoodlum type, but whatever.
Just
Um,
dudes.
yeah, dudes, but almost like they wanted to be 50s greasers.
Yeah, very much so.
One of them that came up, the way he asked me was so suspicious.
They did not look like very good actors when I asked them.
No, and so two of them were laughing the whole time.
Of course.
And one of them was like, "Hey man, do you have a chocolate flavor?" And I was like, "This guy doesn't look like a diehard Suzy Q's fan."
No.
The only people that ask, because so we bought this company from someone named Suzy who was running it for a while, 20 years, and she has done shows where she sold a snickerdoodle flavor and a chocolate flavor.
Yeah.
Like a Neapolitan chocolate flavor thing. So I thought, usually when people ask, and it happens like maybe 5 times per show, I go, "Oh, sorry, we're not doing that. We're still learning to the shows. It's still our first year in this or whatever." I give some reason. But this guy did not look. They're always like women in their 40s or whatever.
They're long
maybe
time.
50s. They're long time
people who know Suzy
fans.
Q's.
Yeah.
Like, hey, are you doing?
Or
chocolate
like
this morning?
husbands and wives that have been buying it for a while.
This guy was
like
a 21-year-old.
Yeah,
This
whatever.
guy was
Like
as a young adult
11
in a leather jacket.
Yeah. He might have been 4, but
4-year-olds in a trench coat.
he was like 17 or whatever, and he was like, "Hey, do you have any chocolate?" And I was like,
Chocolate.
So in my mind, I'm like, why is he asking me? But whatever, I'll do, keep the business face on. I'm like, sorry, we don't have any chocolate. Hey, I wish we did. That'd be super cool. We have tested chocolate out. Maybe next year. Or no, then I was like, but we don't have it. And I went, it's actually harder to make chocolate than you'd think. And he laughed. And he was like, "Oh, I know." And it was super awkward. And then he just started walking away.
That's great.
And then I felt bad because, like, when people want something and I can't provide it, I feel bad about it. And so then when he's
Makes it
walking
so
away,
much
I'm like,
better.
I got to do something to fix this. I don't want him to, like, leave us a bad review or whatever. So I went, and then he's also not buying any corn. So I thought, maybe now he's not going to buy.
If we
because
had
he's
chocolate,
mad.
maybe he
Yeah.
would have gotten it.
So he's walking away, and I'm like, "Oh, hey, but who knows? Maybe next year we'll have it." And they turn in, and with so much, like, they could not care less. They're like, "Oh, yeah, man." And kept going. And I was like, wow, that's so weird. That was super awkward. Oh, well, and moved on. But then Dad called me like an hour later and was like, "Hey, we got like a really angry message on our Facebook page that was, hey, why don't you have chocolate anymore? I come to this show expecting you to have chocolate. You didn't have chocolate. I'm really mad you didn't have chocolate. I'm never buying Suzy Q's again."
Oh, brilliant.
And I was like, what? That, first of all, yes, I had someone ask
Man,
me
my
that.
dad took it up to
And then I went,
100.
also, that guy, right, the first time I saw him, he didn't seem like the type of guy to ask for chocolate. Now I'm going, that guy doesn't seem like the type of guy that would complain that way.
Yeah.
He was yelling, like, angry. There's no way that dude goes to that show just to get chocolate kettle corn.
And then goes on Facebook and complains about it.
John Travolta from Greece isn't at this thing just for chocolate kettle corn. So I was so confused. So knowing this all now, it's pretty funny.
I thought it was funny.
Thanks
I
for-
thought it was really
that's-
funny.
that's
Thanks for taking me on that ride.
Everybody knew.
But it's funny that even your attempt at humor didn't work because only one guy tried.
It sounds like it worked.
Well, it sounds like it worked, but not as well as you want. I'm just trying to find a victory.
Yeah, you can find one, I'm sure.
Well, it's funny how this whole episode just became us telling Levi funny stories.
Hey, Levi, you got a 1-minute story you want to share before we
Yeah.
all die?
I feel like you've been our hype man, and I don't want you to feel that way.
You're not a guest. You're our third host. You're the least important, but you're still, like,
Wow,
one of the
thanks.
hosts.
Is there anything you want to add?
Yeah.
This is your moment.
How do you feel about the shows? How did they go for you?
Oh, well.
You were supposed to be at all 3 of them at different points.
At different points,
And you
I
were
was
at,
supposed to be at all 3.
0
and then
of them.
Things happened or
Yeah.
didn't happen and did not attend. Yeah, it wasn't really worth not going.
All right.
Okay.
Well, so I think it is time for us to bring this full circle. Okay. We talked a little bit at the beginning about who we are and who we are to each other. We talked about the podcast in general, what it means to us, what we want it to be. And then we shared 40 minutes or whatever of stories.
Of hopefully entertaining.
So, real quick, suggestions. What should the topic of our first episode be, Levi?
All right. Actually,
Let's make this quick, succinct, just find
Throw an
one.
idea, we'll refute it or agree.
I It was just a hypothetical that I...
Go for it. What's
Go for it.
hypothetical?
All right. Infectious disease comes out,
Okay.
and it only affects 6-year-olds and, like, 1 in 50, like, a 11-year-old.
Okay.
Wait, so
No, let him finish.
Makes them these hive mind zombies.
Oh, okay.
All right?
Yeah.
this is a topic for discussion?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
You have to survive, like, going up against these kids.
Yeah.
No improvised weapons, just fisticuffs.
Okay.
Like, and they're coming out in waves because they've got a hive mind.
That's how zombies work.
Yeah. How long would you survive?
So this would be the hypothetical topic we would discuss for our first episode.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Jude, how do you feel about it?
I actually had
Do I want to discuss it?
Yeah, do you want, like, let's say we were starting the episode right now. Would you want to discuss it if this was presented?
Absolutely. I think it'd be a great beginning of podcast discussion if we kept it quick. That would get us kind of loosened up and ready to take on maybe something a little bit more serious. Like, I know some of these episodes we do want to tackle some serious subjects, and that's a great opener for people to kind of get,
It's like a mind trap.
it's like a mind trap.
Yeah.
If you ever
Okay,
played it.
well then, I think we have our topic.
And just for reference, this did come to me in a dream last night.
a kind of
That I was
prophetic.
dreaming about what to talk about, what to bring up for our first thing.
Wow.
And this is...
I mean, I like it.
It's a roundabout.
Yeah, you were
It's very
thinking
you.
we've got this Christian podcast where we're providing good content for people to listen to, kind of non-controversial stuff.
Yeah.
And you go, okay, how many kids could I kill?
with your bare hands.
with your bare hands.
Yeah, with your bare
With your
hands.
bare hands.
They're infected. They're no longer
Yeah.
kids anymore.
They're not
They've
human
been
anymore.
taken over by this alien hive
Hey,
mind.
let's save this.
Let's save
for
it
our first episode.
Let's save
Alright,
it for the first
alright.
episode.
So, to recap, we had all this fun today, but first episode of Under the Influence, we will be tackling the the very debated topic, which
The
is
classic,
the
you know,
classic
hypothetical.
topic, right? Hypothetical, which is
How many
infected 6-year-olds and 1 in 50 11-year-old infected children
zombie
with
hive
your bare
minds.
hands.
Yeah.
So hey, come back next week and we'll be discussing murdering children that aren't human anymore.
They aren't human, so it's fine. It's like hunting.
All right, we did it, guys.
All right.
Great first.
All right.
Great first app
Yeah, well, discussion about our first
discussion. Yeah. So this is all the precursor, and our first episode will be coming out probably pretty soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. That was fun.
All right, roll the outro.
I end the program by saying, you've made this day a special day by just your being you. There's no person in the whole world like you, and I like you just the way you are.